I was thinking about my mom when my dad died and how she went into an emotional shock. The day that he died, I remember tens of dozens of people flooding my first floor of the house that we lived in Brooklyn. And the door was open and people just flooded the place. There were just so many people just coming in through those doors, and it wasn't a matter of who could fit, or I just never seen so many people in that space. And those people were there for my father. He was an extraordinary and honorable human. And I remember my mom sitting on the floor with her feet out, and they were crossed, and she had prayer beads in her hand. And though that apartment was flooded, there seemed to be a space around her, just a small radius of emptiness around her as she stared blankly into the wall. She was like that the entire night. No matter how many people came into our place, she just stared straight into the wall. And the only thing that was moving maybe were her fingers, and maybe there was a slight rocking of her body. I'm not sure. Maybe. But even when people who came to her, came next to her and maybe spoke to her or said something to her, she didn't take her gaze away from the wall. And I could tell, maybe not as a child back then, but as I grew older and I reflected on that night, I could tell that she'd been shell-shocked. She was in a state of shock. My mother and father loved each other so much, and they had such a beautiful and imperfect relationship. But the imperfection, and I guess what I mean by imperfect is that they fought a lot, but they loved each other so much. And my father would regularly come home with flowers for my mom, her favorite red roses. And sometimes she would answer the door speechless. It didn't matter if she'd been ruminating on their disagreement for the last how many hours or the entire day that he'd been gone at work. But as soon as he came home and she saw him with the flowers, it's like she herself didn't know what to say, and she herself had all of a sudden remembered the truth and probably even forgot what she'd been ruminating about. They loved each other so much, and you could tell there was such strong love and passion there. My mother said that while my father was alive, that he would go over everything with her about running a household, about living life, about having a family. So what I got from that was that he did his best to prepare her physically and to make her life easy while he was alive. And really, in any case, if he died, even before he got sick, he just always did his best to prepare her. But even all that preparation, even teaching my mom to drive and letting her know about everything that everybody in the house needed and that our household needed, and all the things that came with running a daily life. Even all of that preparation didn't prepare my mom for the emotional shock, for the grief, for the heartache, for her only love lost at a young age. My mom and dad were in their early 40s when my father passed of pancreatic cancer. And I can't even imagine, I wanted to say, could only imagine my mom's heartbreak, but there's really no way to. There's really no way to. If you can imagine, imagining your life with somebody and building every day like you have tomorrow with them. And then one day they're not there anymore, and here you have the 3 children that they gave you, and now you have the responsibility of these 3 young children and 3 mouths to feed when your heart doesn't even feel like beating anymore. When your heart doesn't even feel like being here anymore. Because the person that you walked alongside with isn't here anymore. And so what do? I don't really think there's any way to know what you do. I think there's just whatever happens in every moment after. And the best way in which you can deal with that and accept that, while also mourning if you need to and grieving however you need to. I thought about this story originally because of some judgment that I had regarding my mother-in-law. And I think that when my father-in-law was ill recently, I think that she may have said something that exhibited her fear about him dying and how she wouldn't know what to do if he died. And I thought to myself, my mother was coached by my father every day probably that they had a family, every day that he was alive and she knew him. He prepared her for life after he died, for all the things that she could do and manage on her own. But it still didn't help her when he died. And I had this judgment because when I had it, I thought to myself, I need to do everything that I can so that I'm physically prepared, because life will break your heart anyway when your partner dies, in that 50-50 chance that they go before you do. Your heart will be broken anyway. And that emotional journey, that's one that you can't prepare for. I guess all you can do, the best preparation for that, is just living each day of your life and loving them fully. But even then, there's no way to prepare for that. And so I thought to myself, boy, I really need to make sure that I can take care of myself, that I can take care of my family, that I could just take care of everything right now in this moment if my partner isn't here in the next. Because my heart will be crushed anyway. I can't even imagine that grief anyway. So I need to do everything else that I can. Because life will break your heart anyway when your partner goes before you. And since there's no preparing for that, all you can do is just live life now, fully in each moment, and understand all of your partner's responsibilities and how to carry those responsibilities yourself. Not only will that prepare you for when they're not here anymore, but that'll make you better each day that you're alive, even if you go before they do. You both should carry that. You both should carry the same responsibilities. You both should know how to take care of yourself, how to at least know, how to have the knowledge of how to do that. So if your partner is the one who cooks all the time, then you should at least know how to cook. If your partner is the one who handles all the financial responsibilities, then you should really know the finance. You should really understand how to manage the finances, how to make money grow, what you would do if you had a lump sum of money. You should really know all these things. If your partner is the one that takes care of the children, then you should observe keenly how they do that, what they do, what goes into each moment and routine every day. You should know that because that will prepare you if anything happens tomorrow. And not only that, but it'll make you better for your kids today. And it'll maybe even help take some of the load off your partner today. There's so many benefits of sharing the burden. Not only is it wise in preparation for the unexpected, but we grow so much ourselves, and we give the other people in our life, we give our partner the opportunity to relax a little in the responsibility that we take, and they now perhaps have more mental energy, more mental space, and more time to grow in other ways that will benefit them. And maybe will allow them to be more prepared each day of their life, and God forbid, when you die. It just got me thinking and really knowing that I have to take care of myself and understand all of the responsibilities that go into that go into taking care of myself and taking care of the house that I live in, the residence that I live in. Because I don't want to be stuck with not knowing this, in addition to the grief and the heartbreak that I can't even imagine. At least I can imagine this. At least I can learn this. At least I can prepare for this. Because my heart will be broken anyway. And I think I had this judgment also because when my mother-in-law, or what I perceived of what I'm making up of this story that may or may not have happened, but in what I imagine her saying that, you know, what am I going to do without you? I almost, in reference to her husband. And I took that as her meaning that she would physically be lost. And I relate to that a lot because I would feel that way. And I guess I don't want to, and that's probably why I had the judgment. Because I also don't want my relationship with my partner to be need-based. I don't want my relationship to exist because I need my partner in some way that I feel like I can't provide for myself, that I can't do myself. Because then I really have to ask myself, why are you in this relationship? And what does your partner fulfill for you? Truly, really, what do they mean to you? Is it your survival? Because you can survive yourself. And you don't want to wait until life forces you to, puts you in a position where you have to survive yourself. So if you can give yourself that experience now, if you can take that seriously now, because there are so many other benefits to this too. Your partner deserves to have their responsibility shared, to have their burden lessened, to have you ease their burden, to have somebody ease their burden. They deserve that. And here you are right next to them, the closest person in their life, the perfect person to do that. And when you do that, you become a better version of yourself. You grow yourself. You become your best self. It's just funny how life works. It's the thing that they need to relax a little bit in, that when you take on yourself, you even this balance a little bit. You even out this balance, and now you get to grow yourself. They get to relax themselves, and maybe they get to grow, and they have the space, mental space and energy and time to then grow in other ways that would benefit them. And you both grow and benefit in ways that that make you better, make you more whole. And then when you come together, gosh, what is that about? What does that become about? What does that union become? What does it serve really? Because it no longer serves your survival. It no longer serves your ego, at least as much. Because at that point, you don't need each other. But then every fiber in your being wants to be together. And what's a relationship like that? What's a love like that? But true. But the strongest. But building together and moving forward. Not taking from each other. Not clinging to each other. Not surviving because of each other, but then surviving for each other. And I think if there's a relationship to strive for, it's one in which we truly don't need each other. I don't need you, but I want you. I want you every moment, every day of my life. And I want you wholeheartedly, without you doing anything for me, without you taking care of me. I've got that. I can take care of myself. I don't expect anything from you. When that care comes, it'll be the icing. It'll be a blessing. I won't expect it. I won't rely on it. I won't need it. It'll just be a lovely gift. But I'll never need it. I'll never need you, but I'll always want you. Because I want, and I wanted myself. I wanted better for myself. I wanted to be a whole human being myself. I wanted to grow myself. I wanted to be happy with myself. I wanted to not have so much judgment of other people that just pointed me towards my judgment of myself, towards my fear of myself not being everything that I could be. I want to be better for myself. And I hope to bring that to you. I hope that you get to benefit from that too. That would be the most delightful thing for me, after me getting to benefit from me. It would be the person that I love the most in this world, in this universe. Them getting to benefit from who I become for myself. That feeling, when I get to see that, even though I don't do anything for them, even though I'm not who I am for them, but just seeing how they get to benefit, I think I would have the most gratitude for seeing them benefit, just because of how much they mean to me. It's because of how much I love them, how much I want for them, how much of a beautiful life I want for them. So I hope that I can become everything that I'm supposed to be, so that I can be, so that you can benefit from that baby. I hope that I grow every day that I'm alive, so that I become a more whole human being, and so that I don't need you, so that I can really truly know that my relationship with you is one that comes from a place of my wanting to be with you, of my adding to you and you're adding to me. Not two halves, but two wholes. And I know that together, as we grow more and more into our better and better versions of ourselves, that I can only imagine what we will create in this universe. And I look forward to dancing with you every day, in every way. I'll see you every day, whether it's in your physical form, or whether it's in my mind or in my heart that I feel you. I'll see you every day. I love you.